I'm almost blown away. You've got to fight in 5 days against a heavyweight, bare knuckle, and I'm like, you're so calm. It's calming me down. Your energy's so calm. My energy's getting calmer. That's
Fighting a former UFC champ, Junior Dos Santos.
Junior Dos Santos.
Yep.
One of the greatest
One
of
of the
all
greatest heavyweight champs in the UFC.
I mean, that's just so it's so impressive. I mean, how did you come to this understanding of yourself in the sport?
Because I don't like to lose, and I'm very competitive, and so that's where my confidence comes from, actually. So you mentioned earlier about getting confidence from something, and I mean that happens all the time. I have a lot of, and what we're saying about the weigh-ins, it does matter because you can affect that guy, or it could affect you, right? But the point I was trying to make earlier is that the highest level of this is not being affected by anything, and then just going into a sparring session, just like sparring at Kill Cliff, whatever, and that's the fight. It's just like sparring, you know? So the confidence, I try not to get my confidence from anything or any you know what I mean? Because these things are not gonna,
because it could be affected. You're trying to keep everything
under
your control.
Exactly. That's it. It's not. Yeah, exactly. The only thing that I can really control is like I know the facts. I mean, that's all that we can really do is like what's the reality of the whole situation, and when you know that, you have confidence in the reality. So you are. I mean, you're like, let's say, I don't want to say this. Your confidence is self-confidence is what you're looking for. And if so all of a sudden a wrestling match broke out or something, is like I know that I would want to win. You know what I mean? It's like it kicks in. My will to live and my will to win is very strong, so I don't really need to think about anything. So when I get into the fight, I'm gonna fight. I'm coming to fight, that type of thing.
And you've proven it to yourself time and time again. You don't have to worry about if that is there.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
You exactly. Know it's in you.
Yeah, it really is. And like when you go to your fight, you don't need caffeine, do you? No, because you're like exactly.
You're right.
You have a lot of energy. You have a lot of energy because it's a dangerous thing that you're going to do. So that danger makes you on the edge, and that's where you perform the best.
On the edge.
So you don't need it.
I gotta be.
Yeah. So you don't need caffeine. So it's like it's gonna kick in. So it's like you look at everything like that. It's like when the time comes, it's gonna be there. So the best thing that I can do is be calm. Be calm, right?
There's so much for people who are not fighters to take from this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Something where your business is choppy. Well, your home life is under. Go ahead.
Well, I when we were with Dante Palmentary, friend of the show,
great kid, yeah.
When we were training him, and he was was doing like some boxing, and he's like, well, shouldn't I go like in here? And I was like, well, why? Like, what's the plan? I was like, and it was funny, like, not to toot my own horn, but I kind of surprised myself when he was, how I was like, well, what's the if there's a purpose? It's like with anything in life, do it with like the purpose. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go inside. If you got a nice body shot, gonna go like left hook to the head, then definitely go and do it. But don't do something with no purpose. You know what I mean? Anything you do in life, really. I think this stuff we're talking about.
100%. The difficulty isn't necessarily in thinking this way. We all know we shouldn't worry about things we can't control. But the difficulty is in the application. How do you? It's one thing to know you should control your emotions and your mindset and your outlook more. Control your environment more than it controls you. We all know that. How do you do it? Sometimes things go wrong, start spiraling. You get angry, you get sad, and you can't get back on track. So how did you come about this understanding, and then what do you do to kind of what do you do to kind of implement it?
All right, so I guess first question is like I fought in the UFC, and I made it to my my last couple of fights, I relate a lot to what Brian Ortega is doing right now. He disappeared for a little while. So like my last fight in UFC, I was 29, so I was pretty much done before 30. And those fights, the last two fights, Yushin Okami and Michael Bisping, these were like top 1 and 2 guys, and we're going for a title shot type of thing, you know. But to me, those losses they just crushed me, and I was just like, man, maybe this isn't for me. But everyone else looking in is like, these are the best guys in the world,
top 3 in the world,
exactly.
Yeah.
And it was just, but to me, I couldn't really handle it, you know. So I had to step away from the sport, you know, and I had, you know, personal life relationship, you know, went through, I used to be married, and, you know, we got kids together and you know, business things, whatever. So like back in the day, the money in the sport still is not like what it is in a lot of other sports. But, you know, even back in the day, you had to do other things, you know? So like right from the get go, I had a gym and all this, you know. So like I had other avenues.
A lot of things pulling at your time.
Yeah, exactly. I just didn't realize that it wasn't fulfilling, you know. I kind of had this money game, this money scheme thing that was like just implanted in me by other people, you know, or like what other people say that you're supposed to do or whatever. And so I
as like markers of success.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily about like, you know.
Exactly. It's I mean, it's like an animal instinct to have a higher status than everyone else, and that's what we're all trying to do. We're trying to have the best car, the best clothes in the house, and it's like, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, how much do you make, and whatever, you know.
That's
so
something Gerard always says when people ask, like, what do you do for a living? It's like they're asking, like, how much should I respect you?
Yeah.
It's 100%.
That's what you say? Is that
100%. I always, you know what I always tell them? I'm in janitorial cells.
Yeah,
100%. And then watch them not want to have a conversation with you. We were at a big thing in Vegas where people were like, so, hey, what do you do? And I understand that's a little different because that's a networking thing. But I still was like, I am in janitorial sales. And then they were like, well, how do you know Mickey? I'm like, well, he's my lover. So, and then they're like, they don't know whether I'm being serious or not. Come back around a half hour. Like, why didn't you tell me you were a comedian?
Because you would have said, tell me a joke.
Yeah. Why would it matter? So now you're nice to me?
Yeah.
You know, when I was the gay janitor, you weren't so nice. But now, you know what I mean? So
you told people we were lovers, eh? This is news to me.
Sorry, Chris. Sorry. I didn't mean to get it on your boy there. So you step away. You're in a pressure cooker. You're the top of the game. And it's one of the most highly competitive things on earth. You guys are fighting another human being. And the funniest thing too, as I've gotten to know Mick and you know, and love him as a brother, not a lover, the comments are so nuts to me. What people say and like how they feel like entitled to talk. And it's like, you understand that there's like 40 men on earth that can beat this man in a fight, maybe. Yeah. On earth. There's 40 men that he would even stand a chance on earth. And you're out here tweeting away, and it's like, in what world do you think you can do this? You know, you got f***ed up.
Right.
Yeah, there's like 11 people on earth that may have a chance to do that. The other 8 billion of you are dead. Every breath you breathe in my presence is a gift I grant you. Like, how do you, like, and it's just, how do you not, like, internalize, like, again, I could never do what you guys do because I would internalize that in the first time somebody said something and I wasn't in the right frame of mind. I'd be like, I'm going to find your address. I'm going to find everything you love and I'm going to burn it to the ground.
Right.
Like, how dare you?
Well, I knew back then, I knew how I was supposed to act, but it was like all an ego thing. So like I could act, and you'll hear this all the time because everyone knows the right things to say and the right things to act. So like the comments don't bother me, that don't bother me, whatever, you know. But it really does because they haven't really internalized it, and they haven't set with it alone, you know. So that's my old self. So like I used to seem a lot of the same, but on the inside it's different. You know, and that's allowed me to take it to.
Are you saying like you know that the comments and the shit is bullshit, but that it's easier? You can say.
But, exactly.
Like,
you can say it's bullshit, but how does it really bother?
But how do you? But do you actually? Okay, gotcha.
Exactly. And I have
that's
like,
interesting.
and I think that the way that I deal with that is pretty simple, and I teach this to my kids, and and like anybody can use it in life, is hate only comes from below you. And so that kind of feeds your natural status anyways. So I really just want to be better than everybody else in the world. And, you know, that's the drive of the will that's inside of me that I can't really control. So, you know, I just rework how I think about things. So if the hate is like, there's literally there's no hater that's going to hate on you that's a higher level than you.
Right.
So if you hate
People
on
don't
me,
really
you're
punch down that much.
literally You're literally below me.
Yeah.
Like,
50
I'm
Cent
like-
probably doesn't count, but
Right.
50 Cent will hate on you from above.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like one of the very few, probably. You know, like
Yeah.
They call that petty, right?
he's petty, boy. Yeah, he's petty.
I like that a lot.
I would
That's a
say
good
if
one.
50
I'ma steal
Cent
that.
if 50 Cent hated on me, it would that's just my rule. It's like that's how
well,
I
that
internalize
because then
it.
he's definitely lower than you in the fighting game.
Well,
So he's coming up from there. Yeah,
yeah.
no
Yeah.
doubt about that. We're also all guinea pigs in this too. So we're all learning this. This is the first time in the history of humanity. Really, probably the only other time would have been the invention of the printing press, where somebody could say something from a completely safe distance, and it's all conflict.
Bro, Gerard,
Mhm.
the reason why I was talking about this, he was getting eaten up in the
Mm.
comments from this video we did.
Oh,
Probably about-
whatever.
Probably, yeah. He was shitting on these guys on the Whatever podcast.
Which I've
And
lost
their
all
fan-
respect
Their
for, by the
fans
way.
came
All respect.
out, boy,
Oof.
and like they were like, they were like, what do you bench? Which I don't know why they'd ask you that when meanwhile you could bench like.
No idea.
They're like, how many times could you bench 225? He's like 38 reps raw was the most I ever did. What about you?
Yeah. What's up, bro?
Like he's like giving his stats and shit.
Never- yeah,
But
like-
So are you processing this as
So
we
with the whatever specifically, yes, but with whatever specifically, I want their whole audience because that's a bunch of guys that feel left behind by our culture that are looking for something to latch onto, and those guys are false prophets. They shouldn't. They should listen to this. They shouldn't listen to
Fucking
whatever podcast. They shouldn't listen to Fresh and Fit. Those guys are false prophets. All right. So
throwing
and
shots,
and
right?
we
I like it.
and we proved it because that bitch
That's some bitch ass
cuck
shit.
motherfucker.
I wasn't really like I'm not very familiar with them and what they do, all that shit. But they kind of proved it with the so their whole thing is they just
Tell me
kind of
about
like say again.
Tell me about it.
Are you
so they-
familiar with the Whatever podcast?
I don't know that one. I know Fresh and Fit.
So yeah,
Is it
so
like that?
very much so.
Okay.
They sit
I
there.
don't really know either of them.
just for
but-
people that don't know, give it real quick and then go.
yeah.
These guys are part of the quote unquote manosphere, the red pill thing. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And which I'm red pilled. I'm based. You know, I'm all about it. But I think it's very, very important if you're going to be kind of counterculture, you have to come from an intellectual perspective. You can't just be the exact same thing the woke left is on the right. You can't just be a counter clown. You have to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not sure that red pill is really counterculture anymore. That's popular culture now.
I
It's
think
like
red
because
pills
it's cool.
become
It's
a
cool.
bad thing.
It's become a general. It's just like a general obvious. Like, hey, I'm red pill. I'm cooler than you. So it's like, I mean, is that really
I don't think I feel
against
like
the
red pills
grain?
now has like kind of like a bad it's almost like I believe in the beginning of woke.
Mhm.
That was a good thing.
Yeah.
Like woke was like it's like yeah, I'm woke, like I'm down with I understand what's going on. I'm
Sure.
awoke, I'm awake. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But it's obviously taken now woke's like it's a horrible thing.
Oh, it's crazy.